What's this? Do we hear the wedding bells?
Oh my god! Bring, bring. It's the day of the wedding.
And we are invited. You're listening to Getting Fae'd. We,
Meike,
Lea,
and Lukas are reading A Court of Mist and Fury for the very first time. Today we are covering chapters 3 and 4. Get Fae'd with us!
Woo!
Guys.
Hello.
It's been quite a while, hasn't it?
It's been a while, at least for us.
How long has it been?
Well, for our listeners, it only has been 2 weeks, but
The magic of scheduling.
yes, for us it has been a while since a lot of things happened.
What happened, Lea? Can you be specific?
Well, I had to move, but I moved successfully and it is done now. Hey, I have a new home.
How is your new home?
Nice and cozy.
Have you already installed your ACOTAR themed Tamlin shrine?
No, but I installed my Lord of the Rings shrine.
That's fine as well.
And underneath is the first ACOTAR book. And then
Just how Tolkien intended.
right where it belongs.
And then when we go through all the other books, then one after the other, there will go more ACOTAR books there, and the other books have to move to another shelf.
Nice.
Claiming the space.
Yeah.
Just like Tamlin likes to claim Feyre.
Ugh.
But will he? In today's episode, we'll see. These are quite some eventless chapters.
Well,
But something big happens at the end. But we are not getting into this right now. Because first we gotta talk about chapter 3.
no, we have to talk about chapter 1 and 2. We have to give a little recap.
Oh yeah. Well, if you offer so kindly, Lea.
Bro, Feyre is sad.
That's
End
it.
of the
Now we
recap.
get into chapter 3.
No, she's sad. She's traumatized.
Also not pregnant.
Yes, but she had to vomit anyways because she is traumatized. And it's not that perfect between Feyre and Tamlin anymore because they're both...
Trouble in paradise.
Yes, they're both dealing with what has happened under the mountain, but they're kind of dealing a bit separately and not talking to each other. And Tamlin is very scared, and so he does not let Feyre go anywhere, and she feels trapped in the house. Trapped in the house. Yep. And
We met a new character
Ianthe, right?
who's a horny high priestess.
Also a Gemini.
Yes, and Feyre relies heavily on Ianthe to do all the organizational shit that comes with being not a high lady, because there are no high ladies, as we learn.
Oh, by the way, they're engaged. There's a marriage coming up.
Yes, very important, because Ianthe is doing a lot of the planning for the wedding.
Yeah. She's basically her wedding planner.
And also they had sex. Not Ianthe, but Feyre and Tamlin.
Also, let's not forget that she has still carried from book 1 to book 2 a tattoo of Rysand's doing, but he has not come to claim her bargain, and yet maybe that will come up in this chapter.
Who knows?
Foreshadowing.
So chapter 3 starts with a very promising premise, because Lucian takes Feyre out for a ride to the nearby village to kind of help building that up again after all that shit that went down with Amarantha. So I was very excited for a Fox Kitty, Lucian and Feyre chapter. How about you?
Very much.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to see Lucian, even though he's no longer a fox boy. We established he doesn't need a mask to be a fox when he's a fox at heart, so
He will always be Foxboy.
yeah.
Yes. I was also looking forward to that scene. But I was really happy that Feyre's personality got to shine a bit, because she's really mad at Lucian that he lied to her, because I think he got injured on a...
Naga fight.
Oh, yeah, right, a Naga fight, not a hunt. And so she brings it up immediately when they meet, and that's it. I was happy about that.
He says he fell off a horse, right?
I guess.
And then he says technically he did, so he did tell the truth. It doesn't matter that he was apparently shoved off the horseback by an evil Naga who tried to kill him. He fell off the horse.
Tomato.
It's also interesting that he doesn't seem to be like as traumatized as the other two. I mean, he was trapped down there as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's quite good at masking it.
Yeah. I mean,
he still wears a mask.
he was whipped and then almost spiked to death.
True.
He had a good time down there. But honestly, I was so sad when Feyre struggled with his red hair, because it reminded her of Amarantha. Because I think it's so cool that Lucien has red hair. I love that about him. And for her to be like, oh no, when I look at Lucien, all I think about is Amarantha. I was like, no, they had this kind of blooming friendship, and now this is tainted by some bitch's hair color.
Yeah, she's kind of tainting everything in Feyre's life currently.
Yeah.
Her trauma stays with her like all of the time, and she feels trapped again in that house because Tamlin does not really let her go, and now he's kind of... No, he is not allowing them to go, right?
I think we'll learn later that he is allowing it, but it was Lucien's idea.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Feyre's not just figuratively trapped in the house, but literally trapped in the house because she says she doesn't remember the last time she actually left on the grounds. So not the house, but, you know. And that's rough. It kind of feels like she's even more of a prisoner than she was at the start of book 1.
Which is a strong saying for, like, the place your soon-to-be husband lives. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, bad vibes from that relationship all around.
That's the thing, like, at the end of book 1, she was like, Spring Court, that's my home. That's where I live. And when you're at home as an adult person, you can, like, do what you want within reason, but you have agency over your life. But she doesn't really have agency over her life right now. I think Lucien is like, yeah, he will not let you go, and he will not budge on his rules, I guess. And I really like that Feyre is really pissed off by that, and that she's pissed off by this patriarchal shit that's going on right now.
Yeah, they talk a lot about Tamlin's reasoning for keeping her basically locked up. And I think it boils down to 2 reasons. Like, first, she's terrified that something will happen to her. I mean, that kind of makes sense. Bad people will try to get to her, to get to him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, she died last book.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the second reason is that she is to be his wife. And with that, she's a big representative for the whole Spring Court. And if she is seen, like, doing dangerous things, that is a bad sign for the people. I think, for me, I can say that I kind of understand Tamlin's reasons for doing that, but that doesn't mean I forgive/accept that he does it.
In the beginning of the chapter, I kind of thought Lucien was acting sort of off character because he's so strict on, like, Feyre should follow the rules, like Tamlin is in charge and, like, he alone. But now I think, and the chapter kind of gives that reasoning, and I think that makes sense, that Lucien just understands Tamlin on a different level because the one he loved was killed and he couldn't do anything about it. So, like, he knows the pain of losing someone, and he wasn't fortunate enough to see that one brought back to life like Feyre was. And what I really liked about Lucien in this chapter is that he does not seem to be jealous. Like, he seems to be sad that he didn't get the chance to bring... Do we know the name of the person he loved?
I don't think so.
Peasant Fae girl, number 24.
He seems sad that he didn't get the chance to bring her back, but he doesn't hold it against Tamlin that now Tamlin has that chance. He isn't like, oh, you got what I didn't, and meh. He's just like, I understand that he really wants to protect you now, because losing someone you love fucking hurts. So Tamlin doesn't want that hurt anymore, and I'm gonna help my bro here. He's very understanding about the whole situation.
Yeah. And I agree, I like that, like, Tamlin's thought process is kind of explained, but I still was kind of mad at that and at Tamlin, because Lucien says, you have no idea how hard it is for him to even let you off the estate grounds. And I was just like, boo-hoo, bitch, get a grip on your fears.
Yeah, like, they should just work on that together. Like, then maybe Tamlin should take those rides with her.
Yeah.
Like, they together should go out and see that they can have a day that is not full of danger. Maybe they should just spend some time outside of the mansion and see that, yes, life is dangerous, as they have learned, but they can have time together and they can protect each other. Like, he shouldn't just imprison her and be like, oh, now nothing can happen.
I mean, that's exactly the advice Lucien gives. Talk to him about it, like, really talk to him. But till now, it doesn't really happen.
Nah.
I also kind of think she tried, and he always keeps giving her excuses of maybe after this holiday or after the wedding, and he keeps postponing this talk, and I'm feeling this weird mixture of sadness and absolute joy because I'm sad for Feyre, but I'm so happy because I want this relationship to be doomed. And I think it is.
It is.
It is really nice that the book actually acknowledges the problematic parts and leans into it, and it feels very validating, and I feel like I have the tendency to then lean into it and be like, ha ha ha, finally.
Honestly, I think maybe all of book 1 was actually a choice. It feels like book 1 was just very from Feyre's point of view. Like, we just got what Feyre felt, and Feyre was like, oh, this is overwhelming, and he is awesome, and wow, ooh, ooh. And now this book is like, okay, we're taking a step back maybe from this personal point of view, and while we are still following Feyre, the book takes time to point out what's going wrong, because now Feyre is kind of out of this honeymoon phase, I guess, even though they're not even honeymooning yet.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing is, Feyre is a very young woman.
Yeah.
She experiences her first real relationship. And this is not like a young adult book where people read it to learn what it's like to have a relationship. So there's not really I would call it maybe a responsibility to explain, hey, this is not good or something. When you have a more adult audience, you can expect them to actually figure out themselves that this is not how it's supposed to be.
And if you don't figure it out, you can just listen to us figuring it out.
Right. Maybe in a future new edition, Sarah J. Maas should just shout out our podcast in the beginning of the book so people can know how to reflect on this material.
Or give footnotes, for further explanation, listen to Getting Fae'd.
With a little QR code.
Also with a timestamp and detailed quotes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
we
a
should
good idea.
pitch that.
I already did. She didn't answer any of my 50 emails.
Oh.
Yeah, but I agree. I half agree. For me personally, I think for now that's the biggest improvement from book 1 to book 2, is that the book seems to finally acknowledge the fact that this is a problematic relationship.
Yes.
And I can get behind the thought that it was a choice in book 1. I just still don't think it was a good choice. But yeah.
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is not just black and white.
Yeah, it's red and turquoise.
It's painted in all the colors of the wind.
So yeah, Feyre wants to run to the village just to see if she can keep up on those 3 miles with her fairy body. But Lucian doesn't want to, and that made me kind of sad.
Yeah.
Because I really imagined the Twilight run. Feyre running and Lucian on her shoulders. But we don't get that.
Why? They could just be running together.
No. Impossible.
Doesn't that happen in Twilight too, like in Twilight 4 when they run together? I thought you were speaking about that run.
Actually,
No.
I imagined the Twilight run too, but the one where they are on the treadmill and the evil,
nice.
they filmed it on a treadmill. In Twilight, there's no one on a treadmill. But
Is it Victoria?
James?
I just wanted to say Jack, but it's James, yeah.
Yeah, and
Laurent.
yeah. I wanted to say a
That's
French
such
name.
a great scene.
And they run towards them, and it's just so
But they
silly.
walk.
They float. You're right, they don't run.
They walk, but it's like a fast, magical walk.
And it looks like they're standing on a treadmill.
Because they did.
Yeah. Movie magic.
Woo! That's why we went to university.
But I got confused by that scene, honestly. It was written kind of incoherent. She's making fun of him, right? Because she's like, oh, you got thrown off a horse, huh? Because she knows he's bullshitting her. And then she's like, we can run. And then she's immediately sure that Lucian will not let her. Why is that?
The way I understood it was that she's kind of pissed off that it's still a very constricting environment that she's in. It's okay, I will allow, or Tamlin will allow this ride out with us, and she's immediately testing her boundaries just to show him how he's bullshitting, because she's not actually gaining some freedom. He's like, okay, I will escort you to this village and then we can turn around immediately. And so there's no actual freedom. They have to ride on the horses.
But why? How is running more dangerous? It seems fun.
Maybe Feyre has super strength and Lucian is tasked with keeping her from finding out.
Maybe he would not be able to keep up with her.
Probably.
Oh, he's afraid of losing to a woman. That's it.
Yeah.
Or she's just a better high fae than him.
Yeah, I don't know. We don't have to talk about it that much. I was just
No.
very confused. Like,
Yeah,
I
this
reread
was-
this moment, I think, 3 times. And I was like, Why
All
is
in
it
all-
in there?
All in all, I want to bring another thing in that scene up. Isn't there this one moment where she confronts him and she just kind of pushes him on the ground evilly? And then it's described how she like blinks at her arm as if she wasn't herself when she did that.
Okay, it says, I hissed, shoving his shoulder. Lucian actually staggered back, the mare nickering in alarm, and I blinked at my outstretched hand. I didn't let myself contemplate what the guards made of it. Before he could say anything, I demanded, why did you lie about the Naga?
Yeah, I think I was just confused about I blinked at my arm.
Yeah, I read it as, again, the tattoo is coming in view. And she's like, God damn it, I hate everything here.
I just thought she was surprised by her own strength because it doesn't really say which arm, and she pushes him and he actually has to stagger. And she's like, oh, fuck, I actually do something
think
against
that
him now.
My mind was just rolling free with conspiracy theories that maybe she's like darkly possessed by the tattoo and has some evil spirit inside of her. that
But
comes out.
it is again building on my super strength theory.
Also, I wouldn't say in these 2 chapters there's no evidence for that would support your theory. Just saying. So, tithe?
What's that? I mean, fuck you, Lea. You know that I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so Lucian acts kind of assholey the whole time, I have to say. Because
I was very disappointed.
he then mentions this tithe, and he knows Feyre doesn't know what it is, and Feyre knows she doesn't know what it is. So they both know it, and he still doesn't explain.
I think she calls him out on it, doesn't she?
No.
No?
I think
God, it's been so long since I read those chapters.
she just thinks to herself, God, I want to spit in his fucking face. And then she just flatly says, tell me.
I really like how fed up she is with his bullshit. It's very based. She won't just let him or the men just play with her anymore.
So she's not Blaira. She has evolved into Slayra.
Yeah, but apparently the tithe is some sort of tax that the people have to pay.
Yeah, it's like a twice a year thing. And they have to like show up to pay this. Like, there's not a collector going around. They have to show up. And if they don't show up, they are given a 3 days grace, and then Tamlin has to hunt them down.
I think that is like the important point of it. Like, that he will have to hunt them down. But that sentence again, like, it's so icky and like, what the fuck? And I feel like Lucian says it as if it weren't Tamlin's choice. But Tamlin said, I want to be better than my father. I want to do things differently. Like, sure, it's tradition, but nothing's stopping him from changing that. I think Lucian intentionally worded it in a way so that it sounds like he doesn't have a choice.
Yeah, I mean, he's High Lord of Springcourt. Just do what the fuck
That
you
rhymed.
want.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's a calculated excuse.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, he could just change it.
But it made me curious if this will be a chance for us to meet other characters that fit into this world. Because they will have to show up. And if we stay in Springcourt until this moment, spoiler, I don't know if we will. We might meet new people and we might meet like different nobles. And I think that's interesting. And then the mention of clans
Interesting.
made me very interested.
Yeah.
Because that sounds not very noble-like.
It's more Viking-esque. Like,
Yeah.
there's one clan chief, but the land is so vast and there's so few people that they have like their own little spaces, and then they come to pay.
It's basically like Camp Rock and what's the other camp?
What?
What's the other camp across the lake?
I don't know.
It's the evil camp in Camp Rock too.
Are they Camp
No,
Schlager? Camp
they're-
Classic? Camp Evil? SingStar Camp.
So the evil camp is called Camp Star.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank God we took the time to Google that.
So Camp Star meaning they make stars, and Camp Rock actually makes music.
Yeah, obviously.
Obviously. Okay.
So my point being that I imagine the Springcourt clans to also have a monthly musical competition to see who's the better clan.
I mean, Tamlin would obviously win.
Would he, though?
That's the question, except
I mean, he plays a mean fiddle.
unless there's like another even better musician coming along who is sexy and wild and playing, what might
The
he
cello.
be playing?
Oh.
A cello. He just has a bigger one. This whole tithe thing leads to Feyre's conclusion because Lucien is like, she is expected to sit with Tamlin and be in his presence when he speaks out his judgment over the tithe. And then she's like, I don't want to marry a High Lord. And I was like, yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just want to marry Tamlin.
Yes.
And I was like, you're so close to getting it.
No, but I mean, Lucien then is like, you can't remove one from the other. And I feel like that's a very real conflict that people have. Like, I love this person, but this is a very important part of this person's life that I can just not agree with. And it just is a deal breaker. And I feel like these are the first true seeds of doubt in Feyre's mind towards Tamlin. And I like that.
I like that it feels real.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something Tamlin did per se, and it's not something Feyre did. She's just like, maybe we're not compatible. Like, this one role of him and I.
They met in a very special situation. Like, those were not the normal spring court times. And it kind of feels like people who get to know each other on like a holiday. And they spend their vacation together. And they perfectly have a perfectly reasonable and great relationship. And then they come back to the real life and like have to work and whatever. And suddenly they notice, oh, this does not fit very well.
Yeah. That's probably why trash TV has no real couples. Like, they function on TV because things are great, and then they get into real life and they're like, oh, well, you're not just a fun summer boy, you're also an annoying influencer.
Yeah, I think it feels real and reasonable. Do you think this tithe thing is just a law drop to make the world feel more alive, or will this be like a plot? Someone does not show up to the tithe, and then he has to hunt him down.
Yeah, I feel like the mentioning of the hunting just, I don't know, it feels too specific because it's something Tamlin will need to do. Like, it's not just, oh, we celebrate, I don't know, the moon and we look up at the sky. But it's like, if they don't show up, Tamlin has to go out and hunt them.
And then mate them to fuel the lands. No, wait, I'm mixing something up.
Will he still need to do that when he's married?
Probably.
And maybe Feyre has to join in.
That's the thing.
on the
Like,
fun.
if she's just in that cave, he might just choose her. Now she can take it,
But,
probably.
I mean, she's not a maiden.
Oh,
That's
do
like,
they have to be maidens?
I mean, she's called like the maiden. He's the hunter.
Is the
capital
maiden
H.
basically virgin?
She's the maiden, capital M. I think, like, traditionally it means virgin.
It doesn't say in the book that she needs to be a virgin.
But maiden is more
yeah.
like not married.
Yes.
But like, they are high fae. They do this every year. And there's not a lot of new high fae, so he's bound to go through all of them in the past 500 years, right? So I don't think they have to be a virgin.
No, I don't think so either. But like, that's the question. Like, if she cannot be married,
Well, maybe we'll see.
maybe they won't marry.
So anyways, they ride on to that little D&D village, and Feyre is kind of struck by the similarities between her own village, or mortal villages in general, and this simple village that is in construction because it has been destroyed by Amarantha. Or maybe just, the time, because nobody's been there for 50 years. And it's a small little cute village in the woods, and it has buildings of stone and wood and makeshift structures, and the only finished things are a well in the center of the village and a tavern.
Nice.
And that sounds so oddly specific that, again, I wonder if this might come up. I'm envisioning, the big battle at the end of the book.
Maybe it will be a tavern fight.
Maybe that was just like world building, so you know what the village looks like.
No.
Maybe it was just hinting at how normal it is. Like, it has a well and a tavern. Like, the two things medieval people need, water and beer.
Yeah, based.
No, I refuse to believe that this book contains just one detail that will not be important in the future.
Okay,
and
yeah,
this is
maybe.
why we are
Okay.
here, to find them all. I gotta catch them all. I don't know the melody.
I wanna be the very best.
Best.
Like no one ever was.
These
them
fountains
is my request
to train them is my cause.
Does he even sing Catch 'em All in the intro?
Gotta catch 'em all, it's you and me. No, it's my destiny. You teach me and I teach you. Pokemon. Gotta catch 'em all. We also learned Feyre's surname.
Huh? What?
Yeah, she's Feyre Cursebreaker now.
Sounds epic and whack at the same time.
But it's cool that she kind of has a title in that way. Like, we already learned that she has gotten a reputation under the mountain and word got out. And
Yeah, if Tamlin doesn't want to give her a title.
So yeah, she's Feyre Cursebreaker now. And I think what that does, it really drives home the whole Jesus analogy that we already uncovered in the last episode.
She died for their sins.
Yeah, she died for their sins. She's the savior of Prythian. Those people basically treat her like a saint and they kind of mystify her.
And more importantly, they do not let her help.
Yeah, because they say,
The debt is paid.
yes.
Well, the exact quote is, his eyes gobbled me up, widening. The debt is paid. And what debt from who to whom? Like,
Right, it absolutely does not make any sense.
and that's the thing, like, shouldn't they be in her debt?
Yeah, at first, when I read it, I just thought they were like fancily saying, you've done enough.
Yeah,
But
that doesn't make sense though.
yeah, to call it a debt is not,
Or is it, oh, you killed Andras, but now you paid your debt?
You killed Andras?
Yeah.
I thought you said, oh, you could undress.
No.
Oh my god.
This would be a great AU.
Honestly,
No.
because all of them repeated the same thing. At first, I thought there is like a Feyre cult now. Like one person or maybe a few that like go around towns like preaching her and be like, do not interfere with her and do not, I don't know, talk to her. The debt is paid. And then it's like the catchphrase.
Do you think she will be a rival to Yantha?
Maybe.
Unintentionally.
Maybe.
Interesting. And to me, it kind of felt like they were saying these things in the kind of, oh, nah, don't stay too long here. We actually don't. I'm happy if you go away.
I mean, Lucian says it's because Feyre reminds them of.
True.
Oh, right. There is another thing to unpack. Like, there are
Yeah,
those.
we learned this fun little tidbit of lore.
Like, they had sort of concentration camps
Yeah.
under the mountain. Like, Lucian just drops that. The normal people did not go to live happily or somewhat unhappily in, like, a court under the mountain. They got deported
Yeah.
to this
Prison camp.
prison camp.
Yeah, it was a prison camp. They didn't see the sun, and if the guards forgot to feed them, they ate each other.
Yeah, it's thrown in so randomly. Like, they don't even really talk about it. They're just like, oh, you know, for the normal people, it sucked even more. Anyways. So, yeah, but Lucian says looking at Feyre reminds them of what happened because she is a token of what she broke. But, you know, thinking of what she broke, they are reminded what was. Yeah, I don't know. I guess they are thankful, but they're also like, now, please, just give us space. We don't want to think about you or what you did.
But, you know, these people are not all the same. I mean, there was pointed out the parallel to Feyre's old village. So maybe they are the believers, the children of Feyre. And then there are the people that are like, I just want to forget about it.
What do you think those people looked like? Because I don't think we get a description. Like, were they fairies?
I have to say, I kind of imagined them human, even though they probably weren't.
They
but,
felt human.
yeah.
Yeah, I imagined them human with
Pointy
pointy
ears.
Yeah.
I guess they were just fairies. Or what even is the difference between fairies and high fae? Does anyone really know? Do people have to look weird with blue skin and shit to be fairy? Or can you just be a fairy that kind of looks humanish but without the grace of a high fae? Or can you be like a lowercase fae?
Or
I
could
don't
they
know.
be high fae, but not like royalty? Or not? I don't know. Like,
Or
is that
maybe-
the class system? High fae are royalty and fairies are other people?
I thought so, but like, why can't fairies be royal? That's pretty racist.
Yeah, I have no clue.
Maybe we could just, move on to something that, again, really disappointed me, Lucian, because we learn at this point that it was his idea to suggest to Tamlin that he'd let them ride out to this village just so Feyre can see that this would happen and that they don't need help and that she was wrong all along and he was right.
Yeah. And in the end, Feyre kind of agrees with him and starts to accept her role, but not out of an actual acceptance, but more of a depressive numbness, which I found very sad.
You know what? Didn't we recently watch Hotel Transylvania together? And in like the beginning scene or one of the beginning scenes, the Dracula dad takes the daughter to a town and then they get attacked by humans. And then the daughter is like, oh, right, humans are evil and they don't like me. And then she goes back to the castle and wants to stay in there because the world is dangerous. And then we, like the viewers, see that the dad only built the town like with fake houses and fake people acting as evil humans. So I'm thinking the tavern was built there yesterday by Lucian.
I see where you're going with this.
It's all fabricated.
It's just an illusion.
Wait. No, I like it. The juices are flowing.
On the one hand, that would be a great plot, but on the other hand, it would make me dislike Lucian.
Yeah.
And I don't know
Maybe
how to
Lucian
feel
didn't
about
build
this.
the tavern.
But,
Maybe he didn't know it. He wasn't included.
Yeah.
but
in the
it was
plan.
his idea to take her.
Yeah, and then he pitched this idea to Tamlin, and then Tamlin was like, I just built this city. I built this city. And not tell Lucian, because he's such a great boy.
I mean, I have to say I really like Lucian, but the last few things I read of him, he really was a bit annoying. And yeah.
Yeah. Right now, he's too much Tamlin's bro.
I feel like Lucian needs to emancipate himself from Tamlin a bit to become interesting.
Yeah, and I mean, it was all very fucked up for him. It kind of makes sense for him to be a rule follower for a while because, like, okay, things were just crazy. I'm just gonna stick to what someone else says. And maybe then things will be okay. Like, maybe Tamlin has a plan. And if we stick to the plan, things will work out.
It makes sense that Lucian is in a situation where he's like, okay, I would just like to get back to the status quo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this chapter ends on a very positive note. The vastness of my now never-ending existence yawned open before me. I let it swallow me whole.
Seems like someone who's really looking forward to their marriage.
Yeah, it really sounds like that.
Good thing it's happening in the next chapter.
And on that positive note, we get into chapter 4.
Yay!
And at the very beginning of chapter 4, she thinks I'd never be Tamlin's equal in responsibility and power, and for that she feels glad and grateful. But a small forgotten part of me roared and screamed at that.
I have to say, I kind of like her current state of being actually pissed off that there is no gender equality, but it's also relatable not wanting to have, like, ruling responsibilities.
Yeah, also she doesn't think very highly of Tamlin the High Lord, so I don't think she wants to be his equal because she thinks what he represents is just something she doesn't believe in, maybe.
True.
But that made me think about Feyre as a High Fae. Like, does she not think about powers? Like, she knows Lucian has powers and she knows Tamlin has powers. Does she not wonder if maybe there is somewhere deep inside of her some, like, magic power slumbers?
Interesting. I think she's maybe just too dead inside to wonder about that.
You think that could be related? Like, she's so dead inside, so her magic is dead? And then
Yeah.
when she blossoms...
So I think, I mean, we will get to this in the end of this episode, but I have a quite vast theory of how that blossoming might come to be, and I think this would be a very good plot, her discovering some magic powers. Woo!
Nice. Yeah, but also, like, Tamlin is not like, oh, let's explore your new abilities / body together. It just feels like he's just, like, putting her on some shelf and be like, I'll get to you tonight. Which is like,
Yeah. So yeah, the wedding is just in a couple of days, and the first guests start arriving from all over Springcourt, and it's a bunch of fancy dinners and parties she has to attend, and she does not like it. Relatable.
I was really surprised. I thought it would take longer to get to the actual wedding.
Yeah, same.
While I personally understand Feyre's frustration, I also thought she was a bit annoying in this chapter. Because, yes, you cannot choose who you love, but you can choose who to be with. And she chose Tamlin multiple times. And she doesn't even try to, like, get this relationship sparking again, I guess, because she's at that party and she doesn't want to talk to anyone and she's annoyed that everyone's laughing and happy and yes, she's depressed. Like, that's also like part of her mental illness at this point, but I was just like, just don't marry him.
It kind of feels like, it is a very slippery slope and kind of tilting into the direction of, I'm a woman in this aristocratic position, but I don't want this power. I'm made for something different.
Yeah.
But it's not quite there yet, but it's leaning.
Right. It's starting to feel a bit repetitive.
Well, we're in chapter 4.
Right.
I think plots might start to develop.
Hopefully. Do you guys remember when we said, I think the plot might start to develop now for 15 episodes in a row in the last book?
And we're really starting early. I was kind of apprehensive to say these words, but I still feel it's going.
Yeah, and during all these aristocratic Bridgerton shenanigans, Feyre's only silver lining seems to be Ianthe, whom she tends to cling to at the gatherings.
Yeah, and during that it's made clear again and again that she truly dreads what comes next. Also, not good.
I think, hot take, this might not be the feeling one wants to have a couple of days before the wedding. I mean, I think it's common to like get cold feet a bit and to kind of dread, is this really the right choice? But not like this, Feyre, not like this.
Yeah.
Her feet are freezing and her toes are falling off.
Do you know this scene in Pirates of the Caribbean 3?
Yes.
Where these Singaporean pirates sail to the edge of the world and it's like all icy and one of them has frozen toes and he tries to bend it and he just breaks it off. It's so funny.
Exactly this. Yeah, and then we cut to the evening before the wedding.
Already?
Exciting. So very, very quick.
Things are
quicker than I
happening.
expected. And then she talks to Ianthe again. Ianthe is like, you should go to bed. And Feyre's like, I have another hour before I need to sleep. And I was like, did Tamlin put her on his sleep schedule? Does she have bed hours that she has to keep?
Well, I think it's not that deep. I think it's quite common that the night before your wedding, you're like, okay, I should go to bed at this hour.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's like me when I was a child. I had nights before my birthday where I was like, okay, I'm too excited, I can't sleep. And then I just grabbed my book.
You know,
and I stayed up the whole night.
I think my parents were very smart. Because they were like, if you're so excited for the next day, just imagine you do not notice the time passing. So when you go to bed early and go to sleep fast, then it's the next morning like that. And then you're already there.
Because you can just do that. Sleep if you're excited. I mean,
it worked for me.
Good for you if you can. I can. Can you still do that?
I mean, I try to think of that, but I do have sleeping problems sometimes.
I think it's sweet that you were so excited about your birthday.
But I think it's different. Like when you're a child, you're like, oh, just 1 more hour, please, or 5 more minutes. And Feyre is not like, oh, 1 more hour, please. She's like, I still have an hour.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't the book say Ianthe dressed her or something like that?
Yeah.
And I wondered, is she trying to get between Feyre and Alice? Because I feel like Alice is one person that Feyre could trust into. Like, not that she does now, but if she ever had to tell someone something, it could be Alice while she's like brushing her hair or, I don't know, put her into clothing. She could be like, Alice, I have this and that and I need to whatever. And it feels like Ianthe is trying to prevent that bond.
Yeah, I had the same exact thought.
I think you're on a right track there. But my intuition wouldn't be like, to get between them. But for her to, like, as she already has done, make herself irreplaceable for Feyre, that Feyre needs her, like, in every part of her life.
Yeah, I really think at this point that this is kind of calculated by Ianthe.
Yeah, definitely.
And I mean, it works. Feyre does need her at every point in her life. But the quote with the dressing is that Alicent merely lingered while I dressed, unnervingly silent, letting Ianthe claim her usual duties. So your theory makes sense that she's kind of trying to get in between this romance. So yeah, I think I get shady vibes from Ianthe. You know, not like evil shady necessarily. Just like she's not quite truthful. Maybe it's a neutral shady.
Maybe more like political intrigue.
Yeah.
Like not evil, I want to rule the world, but I'm trying to pull the strings.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Which is, for me personally, the more interesting kind of antagonist.
Yeah, much more nuanced than Amarantha, for example.
And often more dangerous because they're schemy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not driven by emotional hysteria.
Yeah, I mean, emotional hysteria was Amarantha's downfall.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Feyre even contemplates how pathetic it would be to ask Ianthe to stick around even after the wedding. So Ianthe's evil master plan seems to work. And then we get another lore drop. There's like a holiday called Ninsa, which is a minor spring holiday to celebrate the end of seeding the fields. Why do you smirk when I say seeding the fields, Lea?
Because I'm a little child at heart.
I tried Googling it, but I only found like references to ACOTAR. And I didn't want to look them up, but they seemed minor.
What's the real word? Seeding the fields holiday.
And a dunk. But that's Thanksgiving. That's the end.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's Ante.
True. It's reaping, thank you.
Yeah, no, we don't have that. Do we?
I could imagine that, like, in farming communities, there was, like in the medieval times, there was like, ooh,
Yeah.
we spread the...
Oh, we spread our seeds around.
And now we have a party.
But that's kind of my spreading the seeds and having a party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Well, we meet some new characters.
Yay!
And they bear the beautiful names Bronn and Hart.
What kind of a name is Hart?
He's a hard guy.
But I love them. They are so hilariously stupid. I want them to accompany us on a mission.
Maybe they will be her bodyguard or something.
Yeah, I want them to come up again.
Her body hard.
Well, he's just... Maybe she was going for, like, heart. Like...
The
age.
organ.
Yeah. The symbol of love.
The love thing.
Yeah.
The love thingy.
Yeah, maybe, like, he's a lovable big guy or something.
Like all the high fae have like, you know, fantasy names. Lucian, Tamlin. And these are just some standard medieval names, I feel like.
I mean, I think in A Song of Ice and Fire, there's someone named Bronn.
But with 2 N.
Yeah, that's
think.
the George R. R. Martin fancy spelling.
Okay.
That's how you can have someone named Peter.
True. Yeah, so they approach them, the power duo, Ianthe and Feyre, and they want to fuck Ianthe.
Okay, I kind of overread that, I think.
It's described that they just kind of ignore Feyre at first and flirt with Ianthe. And
Okay.
she flirts back because she's obviously on the lookout for some nightly company.
Because Lucian isn't there.
I think it speaks to Lucian's character that he doesn't like her.
Yeah.
So after some flirting, Ianthe has the social skills to introduce them to Feyre. And they're like, hey, I know you. Want to talk about your trauma for a bit? So turns out they were under the mountain with her. And they witnessed the trials. And they were part of the Spring Court fairies that were trapped there, I guess.
And especially Bronn is a fan of the Middengard trial. Just like me.
He was very impressed of her strategic endeavors, but Feyre does not feel well during this talk because she's reminded of that not quite fun time she had while she was
Yeah.
fighting the Wyrm. The Wyrm, by the way, which is now spelled with a Y. The Wyrm? The Wyrm? The
Wyrm.
W-Y-R-M.
I think that's very
The
common.
Wyrm?
Yeah. Worm.
The Midgard Wyrm?
Worm.
Would you still love me if I was a Wyrm?
That's not how you pronounce it.
But it's how it's spelled.
I think it's a form, like how there is a...
You mean a fume?
I don't know how you write it, but it's like there are many forms of dragons. Like not every dragon is a dragon. There are also wyverns and lindworms. But it feels like a worm is something more than a worm. Like it's not just a...
It's not just a worm. It's a Wyrm.
Okay, you win.
Oh, I Wyrm. Yeah, and then Bronn calls the wedding a fitting end to all that shit that happened under the mountain. And Feyre thinks to herself, a fitting end would have been me in a grave burning in hell.
Oof.
That's what I wrote down. Oof.
Does she say that, or does she just think that?
I think she just thinks that.
That would have been such a strong clapback, though.
Yeah, she would be weaponizing her depression.
Based.
And then Hart, my boy, finally speaks what we've all been thinking. Have you heard from the High Lord at all? Looking at her tattoo.
But I love how both of them have no tact.
Yeah.
They're just like, all right, remember your time under the mountain? Cool. Also, that bargain you made. Great, tell me more. What? Dude.
I also liked how Rysand is a topic where Feyre is actually more knowledgeable and informed than the other people around her, because she's always like at a disadvantage in this Fey world, but here she actually knows Rysand quite well. And I don't know if it's Bronn or Hart. I suspect it's Hart, who's like, oh, he's probably afraid of Tamlin, so he does not claim his prize or something. And she just claps back and goes like, then you don't know Rysand very well at all. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, yay, personality.
First name basis, wow. Yeah. I love how she gets active when it's about Rysand.
Yeah.
Like, she's just very silent and then doesn't want to talk. But when it's about Rysand and someone disrespecting Rysand, she's like, wait a second, not my man.
It's also like, sure, it's some form of disrespect, but it's just like, you don't know him. Like, I don't think she was like, I mean, I also don't think you think that, but that she's like, oh no, my boy is disrespected. But it's more like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like,
maybe disrespect was the wrong word. Maybe like undermine.
Yeah, but it also, I feel like the oh, you disrespected my boy is there, but like underlying. Like, I don't think she is aware of that feeling.
Yet.
I
think Rysand just represents that spark in her life. Rüsi, call me. And then Hart says that she'll take care of Rysand if he ever comes to claim her. And then Yanthe says that the high priestesses will have that covered. Which, like, okay, I guess they have a plan. If he ever might show up.
In the future.
We'll see about that.
Also, high priestesses implies they're still working together. Like with the end of this chapter, or how this chapter progresses, are they still working together? Question mark. We will see. We'll get to that.
Yeah, and then when Feyre says she will go to bed, and then we learn that the husband and wife don't share the bed in the night before the wedding. So
also
she'll be
very
alone.
Common.
Yeah, also very common, tradition, blah, blah, blah. And she'll be alone. I really thought that Rysand would then come in this night.
That would have been fun.
Yeah, that she'll be alone and he just comes and they go on a little nighttime adventure together, you know?
Comes.
Yeah.
A fully clothed nighttime adventure. It's probably cold in Night Court.
Sorry.
Maybe it's like summer nights.
Summer loving.
But that's not what happens.
But before she goes to bed, she gets a last glimpse at Tamlin, and he's actually over there laughing with his friends. Either he's doing a lot better than Feyre emotionally, or he's just a way better actor than her.
I think both. I think he still has a bad time because he's also traumatized. But I think for him, this is a return to normal business.
I wanted to say, like, maybe it's actually a good thing that he just has people he can spend, like, fun times with. Because if he cannot talk to Feyre, then he should, like, I don't think he talks to them, but then at least he should find joy and comfort maybe somewhere else.
In my mind, they were the people that he wrote this funny poetry with.
Maybe they, like, recited poetry and that made him laugh.
I also think, like, they were both extremely traumatized. And then a month later, he proposed.
Yeah.
Like, to be like, let's get married now. He has to be in a much better place than her, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he just thought we all worked together to get her life back, and now it's mine. Now I have to take it for the rest of my life. And then, when she eventually gets together with Rysand, he sets out to kill her because no one can have her, and then he'd be a supervillain.
Oh, God.
You say, oh God, but in the future, this instant will be regarded as Lukas offhandedly predicts the exact plot of the future books in a joke, part 225.
No,
Sure.
yeah, I didn't say, oh, God, because your theory is unhinged. I just said, oh, God, because men killing women because they don't want anyone else to have them is just an icky topic.
Oof.
But then again, Guy of Gisborne from Robin Hood, the BBC series, it's just, so maybe this will work. I don't know.
You know, there's always one who's just...
The exception.
Yeah, like, he can do the icky thing. I let him have the ick. He's good with the ick.
So after that, she goes to bed. She is unfortunately not visited by Rüsi. But she has another nightmare.
Awesome.
Hey.
I just want to quickly mention 2 things in this nightmare. Like the dreams about the second task with the riddle and all and the spikes. And then she thinks about how she couldn't solve this task on her own because she's illiterate. And do you think she learned how to read in those few months?
No.
I think we would know.
Yeah, it would feel weird if she just did this off screen. But also, why didn't she?
Because it's hard.
I know, but like she is going to be the most powerful lady of this court, basically, and I feel like she should know how to read. It's kind of strange that Tamlin didn't teach her.
Well, we learned in book 1 that it has to be Rysand who teaches her because he already has a plan of how to.
Right.
And then she mentions her mom. She's like, I might even cry for my mother, who had never cared for me anyway. Beg her to save me. And this is just me making up theories. I think this specific detail has to be an indication that her mom will have some relevance in this or future books.
No, I think it's just to point out that how kind of pathetic or at her wit's end she feels to be like, I will even cry out for my mother, which is like, Mama, help me. It's like the most basic instinct.
I think her mom is obviously still alive and a supervillain.
Okay.
Valid.
This was Lukas Offhandedly Predicts the Plot in a Joke, part 226. What's this? Do you hear the wedding bells?
Oh my god! Bring, bring. It's the day of the wedding.
And we are invited. How nice.
Yeah.
Front seats.
And it starts with a banger. Feyre hates how she looks.
Yeah.
Always good sign on your wedding day that you hate
Always a good
yourself
sign.
in your wedding gown.
It was a monstrosity of tulle and chiffon and gossamer, so unlike the loose gowns I usually wore. The bodice fitted, the neckline curved to plump my breast, and the skirts. The skirts were a sparkling tent, practically floating in the balmy spring air. Sounds like a Disney princess dress.
I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, and then we just kind of cut to the ceremony.
So it turns out that this whole wedding has become like kind of a propaganda spiel by Ianthe.
She's the one conducting the wedding, and she like got that job before the other 11 high priestesses could through some scheming and such.
Yeah, she disinvited all the other high priestesses.
That's rough.
So that's what I alluded to before. Like, she kind of like is edging her way through, I guess, and
Edging my way downtown.
I wanted to sing that too.
what the fuck?
Yeah, no, she's not a good character. I don't know. I don't think she's got good intentions. Or maybe she's got good intentions. I don't know, but she's doing the wrong thing.
I don't think she has good intentions
Probably
with how
not.
this turned out. But what I did like were Alice and Feyre and how they were together. They were so sweet together.
Yes. And I feel like Alice is the only person actually acknowledging that Feyre is not all right. Like, it doesn't seem like she's being like, oh, isn't this the perfect day? You're getting married, ha ha ha. Which is like you gotta go through this now. Be strong, you can do it, I believe in you. Which very much just transports that Alice knows Feyre doesn't want this for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And she's like, we can do it. I'm with you. Let's
Just
go.
get through this, yeah.
And can she get through this?
Well, she spots the red petals. Who put the red petals there? Why are they there? Did Ianthe put them there?
Sabotage!
That's what I don't understand. Why would she risk her big show?
I think you're onto something there, because Feyre specifically told her, don't put any red there.
And it seems deliberate. Ianthe has her fingers in everything right now. So obviously she must be behind this. But I do not understand what she gains out of sabotaging this marriage.
I don't know, maybe she wants to paint Feyre as like very unstable by being by her side all the time and then having Feyre freak over a small thing like red petals. I don't think we know enough of Ianthe yet to have an accurate guess at her motives. Like, I cannot judge her character yet because I
True.
don't know her.
True. But because of that, Feyre unravels completely. And I really liked how that was described. Like, and between my skin and bones, something thrummed and pounded, rising and pushing, lashing through my blood. And like, everything inside of her is rejecting this marriage now.
But also what she does, as she breaks down in this basically panic attack, she silently begs for someone
Yes.
to help her. Who might help her? Tamlin can't help her. Lucian won't help her. Alice won't help her. Ianthe won't help her. But who might be her savior in this situation?
Lexi, hello, daddy, name
What was that? Was that a thunderous crack that sounded through the wedding?
Shadows pooled, chilling the air.
A rippling darkness appears. And the last sentence is, hello, Feyre, darling. He purred. Meow.
Yes.
Big Loki energy.
Yeah.
Your savior is here.
And I'm beyond excited.
Yeah, me too. Because last episode I said, what if he like arrives shortly before the wedding?
Yeah, and I thought he was just going to show up, like, to stir shit up. But I actually think he's there to take her away, to kind of
I
save
think
her.
so.
Ah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm kind of scared to feel this way, because I feel like this is a perfect setup for the story to come. But I've learned from book one that this doesn't necessarily mean anything. But maybe Sarah J. Maas learned. And I really like the setup because it's so well established. Feyre feels captured and unfit in her position as Tamlin's soon-to-be wife. She feels like she doesn't deserve that, and I think she really yearns for danger, for thrill, for spice, and for adventure. And basically, Rysand just has to swoop in and take her away, and this story can unfold that she's drawn to that side of her life, and this would be such a great plot if executed correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. I also like that this whole process while she's working towards Tamlin, she like more and more feels like, no, this is not right. I cannot marry him. She has several reasons for that, but she is strongly rejecting him. And she is not just rejecting Tamlin, but feels tainted by what she had to do and endure. And I do think that Tamlin and everything in Spring Court is just reminding her of her trauma. And that doesn't really let her heal. So I think that a wallpaper change, as my mom calls it, might actually help her to make new memories and thereby kind of transform the trauma and
Yeah, I'm
heal.
hoping we'll see Night Court next
Yeah.
chapter, or maybe the chapter after.
Do you think she's already like a full member of Spring Court?
What?
Like, if she's a member of Spring Court, does she have to pay the tithe? Because if she does have to pay the tithe without being married to Tamlin, and she does not come back from Night Court, then he has to technically hunt her down because she hasn't paid the tithe. And then he has an excuse to hunt her down.
If
Well-
this is the plot, I will lose faith in this book.
But then he becomes Gaston.
Oh my god.
And Rysand is the beast in the castle. maybe all of Rysand's servants
So,
are
Please,
okay.
no more Beauty and the Beast.
Okay, listen. I can get behind him being kind of a Gaston because I think Feyre will be happy with Rysand, but I think Tamlin will try to quote-unquote save her anyways. And I can see that plot. I don't really think he will hunt her down and have to kill her for tax fraud,
Sounds so dumb.
but you might be right.
Maybe Rysand leaves a few coins.
Yeah, I'm just saying, technically, if she just stays with Rysand but has already become a member of Spring Court,
Yeah, you are correct.
so I assume he will just take her away and we will spend some time in Night Court now.
Yeah, I hope so.
Night Court.
I just wanted to say I can see how they take their time until they actually form a relationship, but I can also kind of see how this book goes like, oh well, they fuck fast. Not like, you know what I mean.
We'll see.
Yeah. How did you like these chapters?
I really like them. They really hammered down my discomfort with this relationship and ended with a promising ending, I have to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good chapters all around.
Yes.
Well done. And it's funny because, assuming she will be taken by Rysand, this is exactly the same point in book 1, where she was also taken after 4 chapters.
True.
And I think that's kind of funny.
And if you don't want to miss any action from us
Not
until
just
we
action. Reaction.
until we get to the next 2 chapters, then you should check out our socials on Instagram at GettingFadePod and on TikTok at GettingFadePod, where you can see some highlights and some memes and some outtakes. And you can also slide in our DMs and tell us what you thought of this not wedding. But please don't send us any spoilers because we would like to continue this podcasting project. Thank you very much.
Also, you could recommend us to a friend, or maybe if you happen to get married in a couple of days, you could maybe work it into your wedding vows to be like, I will be there for you always. And also, you should listen to this great podcast, Getting Fae'd. That might be a thing to do.
That would definitely be absolutely appropriate. You can be like, they are currently on a wedding theme.
Yeah.
And to see what happens at this wedding next, you should tune in next time when we are
Getting Fae'd.